many of you have also seen through various social media platforms, we're constantly bombarded with, people claiming and talking about artificial intelligence and all the systems they built and, bots that they created and agents and this, that, and the other, making outlandish claims, talking about making, ten to $50,000 a month on whatever project. Sounds pretty tempting. I've always had a bit of an interest in AI and technology and cryptocurrency and, making businesses online and trying to, make money. Um, I've attempted a few things, never really followed through with anything. So I thought, what's a way to, really commit myself to following through with some of this stuff? And I thought if I record it and put it up on YouTube, not with any real intention to market it or try and push it out on people, but really just as almost like a diary for myself to track the journey and see if we can actually build anything that's kind of cool and does, even remotely what some of these things say online are capable of doing. I've got almost no technical experience apart from, general internet knowledge and understanding of how to search for things and I've, played around with AI for a good few months. Once kind of ChatGPT got popular, I started, messing around with it a tiny bit. Never really gone too in depth outside of just general kind of, search-based questions and using it almost as an alternative to Google. But I thought, seeing all these cool videos, and see if someone with basically zero experience can actually create anything that's half cool. I guess in terms of the setup so far of what I've done, so I've gone with Claude, which obviously is managed by Anthropic. I have unfortunately had to fork out now for the pro version, which is, I think it was like ended up being $34 for the month, which is um, pretty interesting. Have I really got much use? Yes, I've gone this pro model here, which is pretty cool. There's some pretty cool things. I guess the thing I've started to, discover now is really that you can kind of get to those, those ends of your usage limits and get kind of timed out and have to wait for a couple of hours for it to reset, which has been a bit of a pain. So I think as I continue, I'm probably really going to have to start focusing on how I can limit that, what things I can do to do that. And again, all of that stuff is going to be hopefully managed through just AI and generally in Claude. I also messed around with another AI the other day, which I saw a bunch of people talking about, uh, called Kimi, which was this one here. I think it's like a Chinese AI from what I understand, but everyone's saying that this K3 model is like really good, but every time I've tried to use it, um, it comes up saying the system peaked. Um, so I'm not sure about that. I did mess around with this Kimi K26, which was pretty good, and it seemed to like build a lot of stuff. But the once I got to the point of actually wanting to deploy something, it seemed to encounter a few errors when I was kind of going through the actual terminal to run the specific script. However, with Claude so far, it's been pretty incredible in terms of how easy it has been to run for someone who is quite literally just a beginner. Already created something and it's really kind of opened my eyes. So what the plan is so far, this idea of like a trading bot, and that's something that I think is obviously super intriguing to anyone. The idea of having or creating a system or an AI tool that can more or less robotically make trades, and can stick to a particular trading system that you strategize, and possibly return profit is pretty cool, and I think that's really appealing to a lot of people. Um, uh, Disclaimer and heads up from my very small delve into this so far, this is going to be a lot harder than it seems like. Again, I've in terms of what my starting point has been, it's really just been talking to AI, talking to Claude, talking to Kimi, and discussing possible strategies to actually launch this trading bot. What I'm also now starting to realize as well is that the uh, backtesting backtesting strategy. So again, I'm not massive in finance. Again, I've got very limited trading experience, and obviously building bots. I've never built a bot before, so all of this I'm kind of just learning as I go. And it seems like being able to back test your strategy is super important. And what I'm finding in terms of things that are slowing me down right now is going through and back testing this all kind of manually through my terminal on my computer. Um, and I'll just quickly kind of highlight some of the results with this strategy. We'll talk about the strategy, the actual strategy itself, in a bit, I think, and we can kind of talk about issues and things that need to change. But this is some of my first attempts at launching this trading bot, and again, I'm just going to be completely open and honest. I don't expect to make money from this straight away. I would hope that in the future, there is something that is possibly profitable, and that would be really cool to find. But just to show you how poorly this fully AI trading bot has gone in this back test. So um, the period that I've been backtesting is more or less the entirety of 2024, and so the way it works is it basically uses like testnet balances. So the starting balance or starting equity that it's used is the amount of $10,000 US dollar tether. Um, and this is the total return 98. So the total return has been negative 98.84%. So we've lost almost all of the funds over that year. So we started with $10,000. We finish with $116.39, which is just absolutely crazy. The win rate is honestly not that terrible. It's pretty interesting that we've lost that much with a 31% win rate. So we had 170 wins in terms of the trades that it was done that it did over that backtest period, and we've had 376 losses, which is crazy. So the average win slash loss for this initial attempt. So the average win was $195, which is obviously quite good. Average loss was $114. So obviously because of the amount of losses that we had, that's why we've suffered such a poor result. So yeah, look, really terrible. And as I think most people would do at this point, we would plug these numbers into AI and say, hey, what's happened here? Like, give me a rundown and a bit of a breakdown. So that's more or less what I've been doing for the last wee while is really just back testing strategies, making tweaks to those strategies based on Claude's suggestions and areas for improvement. And yeah, I'll see if we can find any others just to show you. Like again, I've done this. I've probably rerun this process 8 times already. So I think we're getting to the point now where we really have to reassess the actual strategy, or I guess the main structure or strategy that we're kind of using and trying to get trying to build something with, because it does seem pretty poor. Yeah, so look, here's another one that I did later on after some suggestions. Pretty cool. So that's kind of what's piqued my interest here is we've gone from a what was it, sub 20% win rate to 42%, which is pretty cool. Same thing, we've still lost a bunch of money, so we've still lost like $4,000 over a 12-month period, which is really yeah, you would never launch something like this, right? It would just be silly. It would just be burning money. Um, but I still think it's pretty funny and pretty cool. Oh, and so the other thing that we were able to do, and again, this was all obviously all done through Claude and just very basic prompting. Like as I said, a complete noob, so I have no understanding or experience with like how to prompt Claude effectively. Um, but with that very limited knowledge, we were still able to get Claude to create a dashboard, which is pretty cool. So you can see it is currently live at the moment. So the way it kind of runs this is it's done through your terminal, and it's done through Python. And yeah, and basically in terms of how you can actually display it or view it, you basically just go to localhost, and it's displayed through there, that data, and all this information. Again, very basic, but like I have not instructed it with how this has to be formatted or laid out or anything like that. In terms of like the actual data that it's displaying, again, that was all just Claude. I have not really dug into this further, and obviously that's definitely something that you could do specifically. So you could just aim to, or target directly with the AI this dashboard, and really refine it and get some really cool data in here, and obviously get it a bit more you know bring the UI up a little bit more, and make it kind of cool. And that's definitely a cool little mini project that has already been completed with this. I think it took the actual time it took after prompting Claude, probably it would have created the actual Python script and the dashboard script and everything in about sort of 15 minutes or 20 minutes after we got to that prompting point. It was probably like, I'm quite slow, an hour or 2 hours of discussing strategies, and getting to a point of actually creating something with this dashboard. And then this dashboard has just basically followed us through the different iterations and improvements that we've done subsequently from that. Yeah, so it's got like streaks here as well, 2-win streak, which is kind of cool. But yeah, obviously starting with $10,000, dropping down to here is pretty poor, and this has been the last iteration of it. So let's have a look at. I haven't actually been using any what would you call this, code platforms. I've just been using my terminal directly on my computer locally. But obviously for viewing purposes, it's probably nicer for me to bring it up on VS Code. So that's what I've done here basically. So this is the strategy that we kind of have come to, and that we've really kind of hit a bit of a dead end on. So it's called we've called it a momentum breakout bot, and this is done specifically on Bybit TESTNET. Again, that will in future releases, once a strategy has been actually established or chosen, that will change to possibly mainnet in the future. But testnet, obviously it's basically paper trading. We're not really risking any actual capital, which is probably a smart idea given its initial performance. Okay, cool. So let's have a look here. So it's a paper trading bot for BTC USDT perpetuals futures. So I've gone with Bitcoin. Again, it's completely up to personal preference with this. I've gone crypto because I think it's kind of cool having a market that is trading 24/7. Trades can be happening more or less 24/7, 7 days a week. There's no breaks. You don't have to wait for market opens or anything with stocks or anything like that, which is definitely something in the future that I could do as well. But at the moment, for first project, we've gone with the crypto, the Bitcoin. And again, obviously with crypto, same thing. You could choose different cryptos if you like. I've gone Bitcoin because obviously it's like the biggest and most established cryptocurrency. And yeah, there's heaps of trading data, and it's probably a good market that you could create some pretty cool trading strategies to run your bot through. Position sizing is dynamic, so that means that we're obviously the amount that we are trading in each trade is dynamic, it's changing. And the way that does that is with risk percentage adjusts to win-loss streaks. So my understanding is that depending on its past trades will kind of determine how it sizes its next position, which is kind of cool, and reports live performance on a local web dashboard backed by SQLite. So that was that dashboard that we've brought up here as well before. Just kind of some more breakdown of the specific criteria that we've got in this strategy, and we've got some, this version has been replaced by earlier draft. So yes, obviously, as I said before, this has been all more or less AI generated, this strategy. So we started off a lot simpler than this. I believe we were just like a very simple kind of momentum tracking trader, but we've kind of gotten very specific and almost like I think possibly lost in the weeds, because most of the stuff is completely over my head. I have virtually no understanding of it. The only thing I probably understood was the dynamic sizing. I think that's kind of cool, a cool little fun strategy. We have been using data in our back tests from 2024 to 2020, from the start of 2024 to the end of 2024. What's I think interesting is that if we go to like CoinGecko, January to December more or less here. So, okay, cool. So this is from January 24 to December 2024. So this is the market data that it's currently back testing. And what you obviously very clearly see is that we started off January 1st, we started off at a price of $42,000 odd dollars, and then by the end of the year we'd gone up to over $100,000 US dollars. So is this the right data that I should be training this bot on? A crazy bull market of a year? Probably not. So I think what we're going to do is we're going to change how we are testing it, and I think we want to do it maybe over a year that is a bit more stable, possibly. I feel like in terms of the crypto market at the moment, it's been kind of like seesawing, kind of just chilling, not going too crazy. So let's have a look and we'll see what 2023 is like, because that's what the AI has actually suggested to use in terms of that data. 2023, 2024 is pretty similar actually to 2024. So we've started off pretty low. We've sit at about 17,000 and we've gone up to 43,000. So again, it's a pretty bullish year for that year. I wonder if we can have a look at what about more recent, possibly. So what's 2025 look like actually? This this data set might be more applicable for kind of where we are currently. So we started off at 70 odd thousand. Actually, sorry, a bit more like 93,000. So we've started off about 93,000 and we've ended the year at about 86,000. So this is a much more appropriate year, I think, in terms of our current, what the market's currently doing, pretty clearly. If we were to compare it to how things have been going more recently, a completely different market. So I do think it's going to be important that we adjust our backtesting for the trading bot to be a bit more accurate. So this is for the 2023, but I think I might actually change that now, because we might actually see if we can do. I think 2025 is probably a bit more appropriate. Okay. Thank you for this. 2025 data. Okay, so again, this prompting wise, very bare bones. Like I'm trying to be as, I guess, descriptive as possible with my responses now. I started off very vague, and Claude, would still do a really great job with its responses, but sometimes it may have kind of overthought things. We can actually just test it by, it's as simple as changing the prompt when I launch the terminal. Launch the program. So I'll bring this over here so you guys can see anyway. So this is my Great. So cool. So this is the terminal. I forgot to grab the actual prompt. I'll just throw that back over there. And we're going to grab this. So this is what we're grabbing here, and this is to actually run the back test. So we're just going to paste that there. So this is running that back test through Python. All I've changed in this one here is I've just updated the actual dates now. So this is the date range. It's going to be fully 2025 because I feel like that's more appropriate with the current market. And hopefully that can get us more accurate information. So we're going to go ahead and run that. And we'll just press enter. We'll see what happens. Okay. Cool. Great. So we can see it's running now. While we're doing that, we may as well do a new iteration of the... Will I need to do a new one? I wonder. We might do a new one just so we can... Yeah, we'll do a new one. So I believe you just go Control C. Yep. Okay, cool. So let's stop that. The trading bot information. So let me go to our terminal. No, that's terminal basics. So this is the current one that we have up. This data will update once we have completed the backtest here, which is currently ongoing. It for the 2024 year, it did take close to 20 minutes or so to actually complete. What will happen is it will just continue to run in the background, and then once it's done, it will generate like a backtest report. That report, again, that was all done through code, so through Claude, sorry. So Claude, I asked it to create a backtest so we could actually test these strategies with the correct historical data. And yeah, and it gave us, that as part of it as well. So once it completes, it does give that report, and that's what I've been using to just copy and send through to Claude, and then Claude's been reviewing and changing as needed. Okay, so we'll go to the actual README, and the README's got some information on the setup of everything. And install. Okay, cool. Python-y. I think I need to delete from memory, I need to actually delete the old saved data. Here it is. I need to delete. I might not, but I'm going to just do this anyway. So we'll grab this as the first part. We will throw this into our terminal. And so this is actually a separate terminal that I've opened for the specifically for the dashboard too. And yeah, so that is going to run alongside of the other ones. Okay, I need to do this. Delete backtest results. Okay, so that should have deleted it. And then now we need to, after that, we need to run this here. But we need to also update the dates on this too. Okay, I'm going to get Claude to do this. So Claude, I need updated scripting for running dashboard with the updated dates. Which I'm going to do 2025. Claude, I need updated scripting for running the dashboard with the updated dates 2025. Here we go. So we've actually got to change the path as well. Does that change my... Let's see. We'll just test it based on this way. But I do know that I always had like another Python folder or another like Notepad folder that 2025. Okay. And then Python dashboard. So let's just try it this way. I don't think this is right, but we'll see what happens. Okay, so that's worked. We'll close that, and we're going to go ahead and we're just going to open a new one. We'll go localhost 5000. Okay, so this is still going to take until, at a minimum, the other script finishes. So we'll have a quick look and see anyway. So we'll let that run. Maybe we can talk about, I guess, what I want to do in the future with this. So I think, this video today is really just kind of to show what, little, very little time and effort is able to actually create. What I think I'll probably try and do here is continue doing some backtesting stuff with some subtle updates and changes to the actual trading bot strategy. I think that's a pretty good starting point. What we're also going to have to do is we're going to have to, I think, at some point, probably even just like completely restart from scratch with the strategy and try and re-implement it. What that might look like, I think it's probably going to be just literally, new instance of Claude, calculate or rediscuss what we think is a smart strategy in the current market, and possibly from scratch launching a new Python version of the bot that's a bit more easy to understand. I think that's probably going to be a big thing, because at the moment, it's kind of I've kind of just gotten a bit lost in the weeds with the trying to use AI to constantly improve the strategy, and we've probably kind of gone a bit astray from the actual purpose and stuff of this. But I think it's really cool. I think it's a cool video to start with to kind of show how what this thing is kind of capable of, and really to also as I said, early days, I've barely done anything yet. There's still heaps more to explore, but maybe a lot of the claims that you see online about returns some of these trading bots make may be a bit overstated. And I think once we get some more data from this one here with the updated timeframes for backtesting, I think that's gonna be a bit of a game changer to decide what we do moving forward here with the strategy. But let's see. Anyway, we've adjusted our backtesting dates because we saw how crazy that 2024 year was in terms of Bitcoin price, and starting off at 40 grand, going up 40,000, all the way up to 100,000 in a year is pretty crazy. And I think moving forward, especially with Bitcoin, I think you're going to see a lot less of that. I think it's going to be more established market conditions, less crazy spikes, and getting something that can getting a trading bot that can profit in those types of markets, I think is really appealing to me. So yeah, we'll see, and we can adjust and change strategy and go from there. I think what we can also do is really get this dashboard looking really quite cool. I think that's another cool aspect of this stuff too, and this early kind of iteration of the trading bot is that we've also created a pretty cool little side tool that could easily become, a main project or a main, product or something that you could look at, using in the future as well. And yeah, it would have. Yeah, I think it'd be a really cool thing to kind of get my head around, get around the UI side of it as well. So that's definitely something in the future that I will attempt to do and make kind of videos on as well, kind of documenting that journey, which will be freaking sweet, if I can say so myself. But yeah, let's check. Oh, here we go. We're actually finished. All right. Interesting. Okay, cool. Let's have a look. We make this a bit bigger and see if you guys can actually see this here. There we go. That's a bit. Okay. Wow. So we've gotten, as you can see, we've still gotten smashed here. So we've seemingly traded. There was a lot more, a lot fewer trades that were actually made by the looks of it here. So we had 426 trades. I think our last iteration. I haven't got it on here actually. No, okay. I think I'm pretty sure our previous iterations were doing over 500. So that's a decent amount less trades. So yeah, started off with 10,000 US dollars. Final equity we've dropped down to 1,600. So I think as well, I'll probably change those amounts around. Okay, so we're gonna get these backtest results here. We're just gonna copy those. We're gonna go into our Claude and we're gonna throw these in here. I'm gonna send that to him. Now, also in case anyone's wondering what I'm actually doing here, so running this report brought up this this document, this notepad document, and it's actually got the backtest report here as well. Here in Claude, there. Okay, cool. But yeah, so that's kind of what I'm doing at the moment. But yeah, we're gonna have to obviously call this video at this point here. If you have any suggestions for what you'd like to see in the future, let me know. If you've got ideas for cool AI kind of projects that I could develop in the future or look into in the future and try and, you know, be a person from the perspective of having no experience attempting to do it. Um, something you think might be cool, please let me know. That would be awesome. And yeah, otherwise, I'm going to skedaddle. Cheers.